Hello, I'm Valentina Kozlova, former principal dancer of the Bolshoi Ballet and New York City Ballet, also co-founder of VKIBC competition and founder of Valentina Kozlova Dance Foundation. In the program Pulse on Dance and Science of Movement. Let's get started. Today in program Pulse and Dance will be different. I'm not going to interview anyone, but rather to talk to you about what I see, what's going on in the dance world, especially in classical ballet. In classical ballet, tradition is more than steps. It's the language of artistry passed from generation to next generation. Every gesture, every port de bras, it is a history which was shaped by people before us. And this is why a role of coach is extremely important. Great coach doesn't just correct dancer's technique, but rather leads dancer to understand to that lineage to of meaning of movement and what does it express. For example, I came from Bolshoi, and by that time rules and regulations will enter as a member of Corps de Ballet. And I had a coach first year who brought me from Corps de Ballet to soloist, the next coach from soloist to principal. And after that, Bolshoi Ballet gave me a huge test. They sent me to Mariinsky company to do my first full-length Swan Lake as a lead, Odette Odile. It was a test. How would I cope with even psychology, which is also important for the dancers, which I will address in my next meeting with you. And performance went extremely well. It was extremely hard, and but very successful because I was given a contract, a contract to enter Mariinsky. I didn't because I was already principal in Bolshoi. And when I came back to Moscow, basically the road for me was open to everything. It took some time, not so much, but it did take time because it's very important to think progressively slow, not to be rushed. Again, it is a psychology, which again, I will talk a little bit later. So at this point, very legendary coach and of course star before, Raisa Struchkova took me under her wing, and she started to reshape all ballets that I danced already, such as classics, all classics, and dramatic ballets, for example, Romeo and Juliet. And the way she worked with me was extraordinary. She didn't concentrate much on technicalities, but rather how I feel, the way I breathe, how I feel knowing there's someone behind me, which is it's an artistry, really. And basically she explained to me that of course she was like many others, a great dancers and coaches. they were taught also by great dancers and coaches. That's how tradition continues. Very extraordinary fact that we have famous Vaganova classical technique, and there's an ABC that you have to follow. However, in practicality, it's not necessarily works that way. Every person is an individuality, so to speak. And so what will work for one this way, maybe for another person it will work more that way, drop of your shoulder, and it shapes your personalities and your way and specific role that you're doing. It actually happened to me, or it does happen to me a lot. I will say, well, this is the structure, that's how you do. I explain the role, and I also look at the personality of a dancer and the body shape, and I say the way I danced was technically even was like that. Try, and if I see it doesn't work, that I find a way for a dancer. That's the role of a coach, to guide you through life. I see nowadays many young dancers learn from social media, Instagram, quite often very good videos of famous dancers, but they have to realize those famous dancers nowadays, they were coached specifically for them. So you cannot just take, for example, variation or pas de deux duet and put on yourself, because you're different from them. So that's, again, you need coach to guide and see and find for you your signature in dance. Those are my thoughts, that basically you always have to be a student, no matter how famous you are. When you're young and you dance principal roles, it's one thing. When you become more experienced on stage and more experience in life, you have to rethink. Again, your coach comes in. So coach is your guiding star. You cannot do without. Next time I will talk about psychology and dialogue which must exist between coach and the dancer. It's not just telling you how to do. You have to have a dialogue and partnership. Until next. Thank you.